Hello everyone, welcome to SIUK India webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with, uh, hello, can you hear me? We are now live with University of Reading. Today we have Ludo and Fiona with us who will let us know more about this special webinar session. Please feel free to post all the questions in the chat box on the right. We will answer all the questions after the in the Q&A session after this presentation. Over to you, Ludo.
Perfect. Thank you, Vika. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. My name is Ludo. I'm the regional manager for South Asia, and today we've got a fantastic guest with us. Is my colleague Fiona from the Careers Consultant. And we'll be focusing on the careers at Reading and how we can support you, and basically how you can then apply for jobs once you are here as well. So a bit of, let's say, agenda. We're talking about, of course, about the university as well, our rankings, research, our top subjects, of course, and then there will be a big focus on the careers because we do believe in the importance of providing this type of service to all of your students. There will be a Q&A, so as the speaker said, any question, feel free to write them in the chat, and then I'll be more than happy to answer. So to begin with, Reading. So where we are, as you can see, we are in the south of the UK. We're just 25 minutes basically from London, Paddington to Reading. So it's London, but it is not at the same time. So it's benefit from London being really close to, but at the same time, basically, it's also detached. So if you're looking for something a bit quieter, something that you want to have a mix between the two, well, Reading is the place in this sense. Okay, we are also very close to Heathrow and Gatwick and Oxford as well. So we are in the kind of corridor that links London to Bath and Bristol, etc., etc. So it's as you can see, it's in the south of the UK. Ready. So we, as colleagues, let's say from the School of Computer Science, tend to say we are located in the so-called UK Silicon Valley. It's because we've got companies like Oracle, Microsoft. We've got companies such as PepsiCo, Bayer, and so on and so forth that are outside Reading. Therefore, it's a kind of IT cluster in this sense, okay. But we also got PepsiCo, Bayer, those are basically the food and beverage, and also the big pharma companies as well. And it's also a Reading as a town, of course. It's also a lovely town. So it's not just about walk, but it's also about having fun as well. Enjoy your time with us. So, and you can benefit, as I said, for being close to London, and having a kind of quieter time if you wish to. Okay, our university. So if you look at the first 90-80%, it tells us what we are as an institution. So we are a research-focused university. There is a lot of emphasis on research. Our research is it's at the core of this university in all aspects, and the benefit that you can get from interacting with academics are on the top of their games. It's important because you can then engage and learn and exchange information with academics that, let's say, from agriculture to zoology, are doing a lot of research. Worldwide, we are, of course, 202, so we are nearly within the top 200, I would say. But there is also another aspect that linked to the outcome of our basically of our, let's say, degrees. As you can see, 94% of our students are either in work or in further studying 6 months. So there is a lot of emphasis on this aspect. And this is the reason why we've got today also my colleague Fiona that will introduce you later on. In terms of subject that we've got, we are offering all the subjects from, let's say, A to Z, I would say, apart from medicine, but we are really good in agriculture, in food, speech and language therapy, marketing, education, and being one of the, let's say, top 30 university in the UK. Both we are offering courses both at the UG level and at master level and at PhD level as well. Now, without further ado, I'll pass over to my colleague Fiona Colby, is here with us, and she will basically interact with you and present our career service to you. Fiona, Over to you.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed for the introduction, Ludo. Lovely to meet you all today. As has been said, I'm Fiona Corby. I'm the lead careers consultant for international students here at the University of Reading. I just thought I'd share my credentials because I come from I've done a lot of pre-entry careers advisory work prior to, and I've been here for 20 years now. I really enjoy the work here. So I've got background in guidance skills, in coaching and Myers-Briggs chain. There's just some examples of my techniques that I use with students on a one-to-one basis. I'm one of 8 careers consultants. We all have a caseload with our academic colleagues so that we can provide career learning and career support to our students. The Henley Business School has its own careers team, so I'm just going to really focus today on the support that we in the central careers team provide our students here at Reading. Next slide, please, Ludo. So today, this session will provide you insight into a full range of employability initiatives to enhance career prospects for international students. I'll be looking or providing you with an overview of our interface with a wide range of employers, and finally raise awareness of the support provided to international students during their time at university and indeed afterwards. So that's my agenda for my presentation today, and that at the end of this overview, I will then obviously take questions in the Q&A section of the presentation. Next slide, please. Here we have some examples of leading recruiters that we are working with and indeed who recruit Reading graduates. And Ludo's already mentioned some key players like Bayer and PepsiCo and Microsoft, all of whom are local to the campus. But we have, as you can see here, we've got a wide range of other who employ Reading graduates, whether it be in finance or in banking or engineering or construction or IT or health, all of these retail, we have good, strong links. And we run regular initiatives. So we might have some employer themed weeks. So for example, I'm now planning for Careers, Science, Health and Environment Week, which we're running at the beginning of February. We've had a legal careers fair, which we ran in November. We have a general careers and placements fair every October. We have events for our construction students, and we have themed week like careers in media and marketing, or careers in social justice, or careers that make a difference, or careers in finance. So we have a lot of themed weeks where we get panels of employers and alumni to come back and showcase their experience and tell the students what it's really like to be a pharmaceutical scientist, or what it really is like to be a loss adjuster, or what it might be like to be a food technologist, so that students get insight not only to actual jobs, but people's journeys, and indeed get a feel for different companies, understanding about the culture of the companies and understanding what the companies require. And we feel this insight really gives them a key advantage when it comes to applying for jobs subsequently after graduation. It's also worth noting that students are encouraged to do part-time work. We have campus jobs and many opportunities on our database so that they can develop the skills and experience that many recruiters are looking for. And I often refer to this as learning and earning. Next slide, please, Ludo. I just want to showcase really 2 years of graduate outcomes data, just to give you a flavour of what it looks like and what it's telling us. We only have 2 years of data from 17-18 and indeed from 18-19. And this is looking at what students are doing 18 months after graduation. Prior to that, we only had a snapshot view. We were looking at what people do just 6 months after graduation, and it was felt that this really doesn't really provide a very definitive overview, because students are still sort of on their journey getting to where they want to be. So the government have asked us to now look at 18 months after, and you can see there's very little difference between our international students and the home students. And by international, in this particular slide, I'm referring to non-EU students. So it's the only difference that I can see that's with a slight increase is international students perhaps taking up postgrad study compared to their UK or European counterparts. And I think this might be I could be wrong, and you might be able to correct me on this, but I think this could be a cultural thing. Perhaps different labour markets in different parts of the world require more postgraduate qualifications. So perhaps a master's in India will have more currency than here. So that may explain why a wider proportion of international students tend to go on to postgrad study. What I'd like to do now is just define some of the terminology that we're using, because I think language can be quite tricky at times. So next slide, please, Ludo. Placements, we really refer to placements as possibly being a year's placement, particularly if it's called an industrial placement, or it could be a summer placement, but which could be 6 to 8 weeks in duration. Internships, again, tend to be shorter, tend to be between 6 to 12 weeks. Work shadowing is when we encourage students perhaps to either go into the workplace and just follow somebody just to find out what their role is really about. Doesn't take a lot of organising, and a one day can really help immensely. So work shadowing is when you follow somebody. Now, as a result of COVID-19, these openings haven't been as plentiful as previously. So in many cases, we're substituting work shadowing with what we call information interviewing. And that means that we'll arrange a meeting with a student to talk to somebody in a particular role so that they can find out about it by just talking and asking questions. And indeed, we can encourage students by suggesting questions they might like to ask the professionals that are supporting us. Insight schemes can vary because I work primarily with scientists myself. GSK and Lonza and one or two others offer like a week, like 5 days insight schemes or courses. And I know these are very popular within legal and accountancy sectors. And then we have lots of opportunities for what we call virtual work experience. So there are schemes where students can actually earn money by doing a project online at home, or they might do some simulated work experience opportunities. And these have grown, obviously, as a result of the pandemic. So that just defines some of the terminology around building work experience. Next slide, please. Now I'm just going to start to explain briefly some of our employability initiatives. The first one I'm going to focus on is called our RED Award. It's a Reading University Award. It enhances employability, so students are required to do some paid work, to do some volunteering, and are asked to also undertake professional development. So that could be coming to sessions that we in Careers run, and we run a whole series of lunchtime events, or indeed it could be sessions that our colleagues in Wellbeing run for them. And we're going to be developing the RED Award, so it's the Reading Experience Development Award. We're going to be expanding this, and we're going to include a global strand and a sustainability element, because this is what students have asked for, and we're very mindful of the needs of students and indeed the needs of the labour market. So providing them with openings to enhance their knowledge and skills about globalisation and indeed about working in a more sustainable way is hopefully going to make their journey in the workplace more fruitful. And this is something we're piloting and developing, and hopefully will come on stream in the autumn of 2022. Students can take part in the RED Award throughout their time at universities. There are elements in first, second and third year for undergraduates, or they might just opt into 1 year, entirely dependent on what they feel they need and what will enhance their prospects further. This is a very well received award, and the result will appear on the degree transcript at the end of their programme. So it's really taken with a lot of respect. Next slide, please. Our award-winning Thrive mentoring programme is designed primarily for second year students going into their third year, or a percentage or proportion of graduate people participating on master's programmes. This scheme allows students to interface with alumni throughout the world. So the great news is that people from everywhere can take part in this scheme. And it's really designed to give students awareness and knowledge of a particular profession. And many of our mentors help students to boost their self-confidence, to learn more about their roles, to be able to get some work experience. I had one chemistry student who was being supported by a paediatric surgeon, and he went to observe some operations at Great Ormond Street as a result of taking part. And it can give students the chance to perhaps interface with professionals in their home country as well. So it's all takes part online. The mentors and mentees have to do some training, and then there are regular meetings through Zoom or Teams, or indeed it could be by the telephone, or if people would prefer face-to-face, it's entirely what the partnership requires. So I just thought I'd share an overview of our award-winning Thrive mentoring programme. Next slide, please, Ludo. Europe, the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Programme, is our research programme for undergraduates. As it says, it is an undergraduate programme. So this means that the academics will have to put their research proposals into us by the end of next week. And then by spring, we'll start to advertise some research openings. This again is a 6-week paid scheme. So the students get £90 allowance a week. Sorry, I think it's 300. They get a bursary of about £300 per week. And this allows them to work with a supervisor for the 6 to 8 week period. The good news about the scheme is that many people can transcend their subject areas. So we have pharmacists working in agriculture, agricultural students working in chemistry, geologists working in chemistry. So it does pervade the whole campus. Students have to apply for these opportunities in the same way that many academics have to apply for the funding. We organise social events because we recognise that students are working during the summer, so they're on campus. We showcase the event every November, and in non-COVID times, 2 representatives who've done particularly well on the programme go and showcase their skills and experience at an event in Parliament. So it's a very prestigious undergraduate research opportunity programme called Europe. Okay, so that just showcases some of our employability initiatives that we currently run. And obviously I've given you insight into how the RED Award is being developed. I just want to share with you some examples of some of the sessions that we run on our central programme. So these are sessions that are not part of the curriculum that anybody can join. And next slide, please, Ludo, sorry. And these slides are, these sessions are things like staying in the UK to work, or application essentials, which is where we look at how to prepare a CV, cover letter, etc. And then in the spring term, we run sessions on LinkedIn, working internationally, and things like that. So we do run bespoke sessions for our students here at Reading. They usually, some of them are face-to-face, but some of them are held as webinars. So that means that, that students can take advantage of these during their time at university. Some of the sessions are in fact led by recruiters. So again, that gives students an opportunity to network with these people and perhaps even take advantage by getting some work experience as a result of attending some of these presentations. So we get good feedback for students who have taken part in these central sessions. Students can use our service throughout their time at university. Next slide, please. Sorry, I'm not used to being Chris Whitty, our health minister. So we run sessions and we run individual appointments. So students can see us face to face or they can see us on screen, depending on what they would prefer and what they're most comfortable with. We all have our caseload students, but we can also see everybody else as well. So there's a good range of support that we can offer one-to-one. Once the students graduate, that they don't have to say goodbye to careers. We are now offering support to our Reading graduates for up to 2 years after they finish. And this is to help them really after they've completed their course. So we run events so they can come to sessions that we run, but we can also run one-to-one appointments. So they can attend sessions and they can have up to 4 coaching sessions with one of us. So we can use coaching or counselling techniques and help them to maintain their well-being as well, while they're identifying career direction and indeed developing a job-seeking strategy so they can get where they want to be. So again, 2 years of support. And the joy of technology is obviously we can do this, you know, virtually, as well as mainly we do this virtually, because we often find that students might be doing a role and they're looking for a better role, and we can support them with that. And then just a reminder, My Jobs Online is our database which hosts all our events. Students can book appointments, they can look for part-time jobs, they can look for graduate vacancies, and that is our interface with our student population. They create a profile on there, and then that means that sessions or information that's relevant to them will filter their way. So what I've done today, just to remind you, is I've talked about the range of employability initiatives. I've talked about how we interface with employers and how we provide both central sessions and individual one-to-one support, both to students who are with us and to students who have graduated. Thank you very much indeed for listening. I'm now going to, next slide please, I'm now going to open it up to any questions. Next slide please.
Yeah. Okay, so can we start the Q&A session now?
Next slide please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Fiona and Ludo, for such a knowledgeable presentation. And now we are moving towards the Q&A session. The first question the student is asking, can you please tell me the deadline of 2022 intake, if there is any scholarship available?
I'm happy to answer this question. So in terms of scholarship, yes, we are in the process of opening up the scholarship schemes. We'll be publishing all the information on the website, as well as informing students, applicants, prospective, and offer holders as well. So be emailing the instruction on how to apply for scholarships as well. Yeah, it's in the process of basically of being communicated to our audience.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question: what are the top 5 employers for Reading University?
Oh, it's more complicated than that. I think it depends on how you define top. Do you find top as world renowned? Do you find top as the highest earners? Do you find the top as the most prestigious in terms of the science that they're doing? Do you identify top as the largest? You know, how you define top is going to vary. But a lot of students do go to the big companies, like the food students might go to Marks and Spencer's, they might go to PepsiCo. A lot of finance people go to the big four. Lots of opportunities with GSK and Lonza and Roche. Lots of small to medium enterprises. If we look at it, you know, the biggest proportion of students work for the small to medium enterprises because sometimes they offer more variety, and students like variety because you learn more by doing more different things. So I would say, if you look at the overall picture for graduate destinations, only about 5% work for the big companies because they probably recruit larger numbers, whereas the majority worked for the small to medium enterprises who might recruit less graduates, but there are more of them and they're providing more variety, and lots of students like that. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Fiona. The next question: what is the employability rate of postgraduates?
The postgraduate level is same as undergraduates. It's very, very high. In some areas, it's even higher, particularly in areas like speech and language therapy. And in construction, it's pretty high because obviously these are very much global companies. And I'm sure in our agriculture area as well. So yeah, the figures for postgraduates are pretty good and pretty in common percentage-wise with our undergraduate level.
Thank you. The next question: do you have a master's in architecture?
Not at the moment. I think our students tend to do their professional masters in architecture elsewhere, and you'll find that many architects tend to do their first degree in one country, one university, and then do their masters in another one, just to get a wider perspective, greater insights. I don't know whether it will come eventually, but I'm not aware of it at the moment.
If I may, I just jump in. There is also an element linked to the REBA accreditation. So if you get a degree that it's let's say outside the UK and Europe, it has to be accredited by the REBA, which is basically it's the body that is basically it's the body of the exactly
Royal Institute for British Architecture.
Correct. Yeah. But there is a way, if you don't have a REBA accredited course, to get the accreditation. And it's also available on our website, so feel free to have a look, and because we listed how we can get the accreditation for the REBA course as well.
Thank you, Ludo and Fiona. The next question: what is the average salary for an international relations MA course graduate? Is the 2 years of work post-study work visa available?
Employers don't differentiate between undergraduates or postgraduates in terms of salary. The employer will very much look at the skill set of the graduate, and if the postgraduate student has got a better skill set or a wider skill set or a skill set that is in line with what the company are looking for, then obviously that person will be a better match for the job. The graduate skills visa is very much new and has started for applications in July this year. It does allow for students to stay up to 2 years, but you don't have to stay with a recruiter. You can mix around. You can spend 4 months with one employer and a year with another one. If you migrate to the graduate skills visa, then this is sometimes the way employers want to keep their students. So if their employers are particularly accomplished and they want to hang on to them, then they might change them from the graduate visa to the skills visa so that they can keep them, and that will count towards settlement status.
Thank you, Fiona. The next question: Do we need to submit a personal statement along with the application? What are the job prospectus in UG management courses?
If you're applying for an undergraduate program or indeed a postgraduate program, you will need to produce your application and indeed a personal statement that outlines your motivation for the program, the skills you can bring to the program, and indeed how the program might enhance or support your career aspirations or your career journey.
Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you.
Yeah, the next question, is there MBA program or PGP or PGDM program, and when is it in the intake of 2022?
I'm happy to take this question in terms of MBA. So the business schools does offer executive MBA. They tend to look for, in terms of experience, tend to look for managerial experience from 5 years onwards. So you will need to have a lot of experience in order for you to apply for the MBA. The school, the only business schools, at the same time also offers courses in management. The MSc Management, for instance, is taking a lot of modules and the structure from the MBA, but it does not require the let's say the managerial experience in order for you to apply.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question, what is the fee structure?
For which course? For any course, or
yeah, for any course, because sometimes students feel to pay in installment, not in one go. So maybe they're asking about that.
Okay, it depends on the course. We've published all the fees on the website. It can vary from, I would say, 70 to 18,000 pounds up to 24,000 pounds. But do not worry, because every course has listed its own fees, so everything will be there. So you can see in terms of how much will cost. In terms of installments, you can pay in installments. So you'll be, of course, informed once you apply and then you accept your offer that how many installments tend to be 2 installments per year. One in around, let's say, September, October, the other one perhaps Jan, Feb, something like this. But not worry, because you will be informed by us.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question, any accommodation facilities available? Is there any discount on early booking?
No, we don't. So yes, we do have accommodations inside the campus. When you're thinking about Reading, let me add also this kind of visual element. Think about a tiny village built inside the town of Reading. So you're not far from the city center, from the train station. Schools and accommodations are inside this tiny village. Okay, so you basically you will need to book the accommodations. We don't have a kind of an early early discount, but my advice to you would be, if you're thinking of staying inside the campus accommodation, to start your application sooner rather than later. For the reasons are twofold. A, you can choose what you're interested in, of course, and B, you can select whether you want to go for catered or self-catered. So, and you've got more choices basically.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question. Is there any course specific scholarship? I want to know about MSc Bioscience program.
Yes, we do have scholarships. We are in the process of, all the scholarships are for basically for all our courses. We are in the process of updating the webpage and informing students. You will need to have an offer first. So you need to apply for the course first. And as soon as you receive the offer and the scholarship scheme is open, you can apply for scholarships straight away.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question. Are there any employment possibilities for bilingual students? I mean, I speak English and French and have experience about 4.5 years in the French banking sector.
We have very strong links with L'Oreal and one or two other companies who might be able to support people or encourage people who've got language skills as well. We work with an insurance company that has a subsidiary in France. We also work closely with Zurich, who do a lot of insurance, car insurance and that sort of stuff throughout Europe. we do have links with firms who want both so they'd love your financial knowledge and they would love the fact that you're bilingual as well. So that would be a great asset. We've also had links with some publishing companies who look at the feasibility of translating books into other languages. So that gives you a flavour perhaps of some of the career destinations that you could look at if you decided to study further and indeed want to build on the experience you have already.
Thank you, Fiona. The next question. What is the placement rate and average salary for LLM students in intellectual property rights?
I think to get a placement in LLM is quite tough. The average salary for placements I've seen most recently is for year placements is between 18 and £23,000. Obviously that is tax free because it's part of your undergraduate program. 10 to LLM, sometimes you might get a placement with a firm that specializes in that area, but I would imagine you'd get a bursary rather than the salary because it's incredibly competitive and incredibly popular. And then it would be a question of working towards your patent exams, getting a job as a trainee after graduating and getting your patent exams that way. And again, they've got lots of information on patent work on our web pages and indeed on the Prospect website.
Thank you, Fiona. The next question. Do we need to quarantine now? If yes, what is the duration and will the university help us with the stay?
So I'm happy to jump into this question. So my advice here would be to always follow A, our website and our instruction, and B, the UK government website, where the government, of course, is publishing the guidelines. As of today, I don't think so. I can tell you what we have done last year to support, of course, last academic year, to support students. So we have come up with a kind of quarantine supporting package for students, but we always have to follow what the UK government says in terms of guidelines. So as a rule of thumb, I would say first thing, look at UK government website. I mean, you can easily Google it, set red list countries, and you see what is there in terms of requirements. It's because then we need, as a university, we need to adapt to what the UK government is saying, basically.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question. What is the criteria of grades in order to get scholarship, and is it fully dependent on interview?
Good question. So it depends on the scholarship that you're applying for. Some scholarships looking at the merit, so basically on GPA, percentage of grades. So other scholarships look at the merit and your financial situation as well. But the starting point is the offer letter. So you have the offer letter. Once you got the offer letter, you can have a look at whether you can apply for partially funded or fully funded scholarships. Okay, instruction on how to apply will be available. There will be also instruction on how your application will be assessed by academics as well.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question is there any course for PhD in finance?
Yes, we do offer PhD in finance. Let me explain kind of this rule for all the PhDs from agriculture to zoology, all the courses. The starting point is your researcher proposal, so your idea, what you're interested in. Okay, we've got guidelines available that I'm more than happy to share later on with you if you need it. And this is where you start to think and develop your idea. Once you've prepared your proposal, then my advice here would be to try to contact the academics that are researching or studying the area interested in, or the subject interested in, and try to informally engage with them. If they give you the green light, then you can start the application straight away.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question. Is there a PG program in sustainable architecture or green architecture? When is the intake in 2022? Any scholarship will be granted? What is the employment rate for the post-study?
So in terms of architecture, what sustainable architecture, we've got the School of Built Environment is offering different courses. Within this course, within the school, we've got courses that are focusing on the renewable energy. The Master in Architecture, it is mainly a generic master that basically there are elements of sustainability, but if you're looking for something more linked to the sustainability, we've got a course in renewable energy. So it's where there is a lot of focus on sustainability and use of renewable energies as well. There are scholarships as well. So available, partially funded and fully funded. You need to apply for the course first, okay? But yeah, as a kind of rule of thumb, every course has got an award available that you can apply for. So psychology, law, construction, anything you think of, food, agriculture, there are scholarships available linked to each course, basically.
Can I just chip in here and just say that although it may not say sustainability, it's endemic, it's part of any course now in construction or environment to look at sustainable materials as part of the design and construction process. So although it may not say it, it's still going to be there.
Thank you, Fiona and Ludo. The next question. Should we apply for scholarship separately, or is it considered automatically just one second, automatically when you apply via UCAS?
So when you, for undergraduate courses, you'll be automatically enrolled into the kind of selection process. So you don't need to apply, as long as you need to, of course, have accepted the offer from us. But then it is it's an automatic process, and they'll be looking at your merit.
Thanks, Ludo. The next question. Is MSc available in finance? What are the admission criteria? Any experience needed? And what is the package offered and the fees?
Yes, we do have the MSc in finance. In terms of admission criteria, they what I can see so far that they tend to look at students that they've got a kind of mathematical background as well. This will help coping with the workload that the MSc in finance is creating as well, because there is a mathematics is quite important. It's an important subject, of course. In terms of, yes, scholarship, there are scholarships absolutely available. You will need to apply and for the course, receive an offer, and then there is also scholarships at an application within the Henley Business School. Okay. What perhaps, I don't know, Fiona can help us in terms of outcome. I don't know if you can give some kind of highlight on where students tend to go when they've completed their MSc in finance from your experience.
Yeah, they would tend, again, the employers are going to be looking at the skill set from the undergraduate and the postgraduate level. They want evidence of work experience. They want evidence that you've developed those strong analytical report writing techniques, decision-making skills, all of those sort of things. So they want evidence that the master's has equipped you to do the work well. So again, they're going to look at the skill set. They're not going to say this is a job for a BSc. This is a job for an MSc. This is the way it works in the UK. It might be different in other countries, but often a master's can enhance your numerical skills. It can help you to time manage better. It can give you a lot of case study insight that can really help you to make decisions and to become more accomplished. So there's a lot of evidence that the skills you gain from the MSc would stand you in good stead with recruiters.
Thank you, Fiona and Ludo. The next question. Is IELTS necessary to apply for study abroad? Do you accept Duolingo or any score instead of IELTS?
So with the IELTS, yes, you're clearing all the, of course, the English requirements. We can waive IELTS if you have studied, for instance, a CBSE, ICSE, or state boards, or HSCC. My advice to you would be, if you study CBSE and you've got 96% of English, feel free to submit your CBSE, for instance, and let admissions decide whether an IELTS will provide. If you already got the IELTS and it's still valid, you are clearing basically the entry requirements. Otherwise, we can waive, but you would need to submit the CBSE or ICC or state board results. We do not Duolingo. No, we do not accept Duolingo.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question: how to apply PhD in pharmaceutical science scholarship opportunities, whether need to secure potential supervisor before formal application?
So to apply, the starting point is your researcher proposal. What's your idea you want to develop? Okay, you've got a plan, perhaps, so you've got a subject, you've got even you find the gap into the sector that you want to develop. You prepare your proposal. You try then to look for the academics in terms of what is available, and which academic or academics are researching, or are researching the same area, and then you submit your proposal to them and see also what they say, whether they can supervise you or not. If they can supervise you, then you can place an application if you wish to. The other elements, yes, we do have funding available for PhD students as well. The offer is the starting point. The offer is basically your starting point. I also want to bring an element of perhaps that Fiona can jump in with this in terms of career perspective from your side. What students that then PhD tend to do? They tend to work for universities and to start an academic career. They tend to go work for companies.
Sometimes they might work in partnership between industry and university. We've got very close links with the Diamond Light Source and other companies who actually part fund research, because if the research is in line with what the company is trying to do or develop, then that can be a great opportunity to support. So sometimes you can get some funding from industry with regard to a PhD. And just to remind you that during their time at university, we do offer sort of application advice to students doing PhDs, whether they're wanting to remain in education or whether they want to migrate into the world of research or work for companies. Again, we do support them.
Thank you, Fiona and Ludo. The next question: does admission for masters require 16 years of education, or 15 years is fine?
So if you want to apply for a master's, of course, you need to have completed your, let's say, CBSE or ICC or A-level or IB. Of course, you will need to have also a bachelor. Depends, of course, which course you're interested in. But this is what we students tend to have: a high school diploma and a bachelor degree. Then you can apply for a master with us.
Thank you, Ludo. The next question: are the summer school available? Does it also have scholarships?
In terms of summer schools, we not necessarily. So we may have some say short sessions, but if you're looking for a proper summer schools, now currently we are not offering a proper summer school.
Thank you, Ludo and Fiona. I have covered all the questions from the chat box, and you guys have answered it so well. We are now moving towards the end of the seminar. I would request, if you have anything else you would like to put forward for the audience who are watching us live right now.
Fiona, over to you.
I hope I've given you insight into the range of support we offer and endeavoured to answer your questions. And if you choose Reading, we'd be delighted to support you, whatever stage you're at, whether it's bachelor, master, PhD. We're here to help. That's all I want to add, really. Thank you.
I think from my side, just to conclude, as Fiona said, I hope you find the session really useful. My advice to all the students is to also, when you're looking for universities, let me open up this as well. Ever also understanding what is surrounding you, what type of perhaps connection there are, because if you got a journey in mind, it's equally important for you to think, okay, I'm coming from, let's say, from to the UK, and I want them to stay. Okay, how can I reach the specific organization, companies? How can I reach the specific sector? How can I enhance my skills? You know, it's equally important for you to understand what is around you. And last, I say, but not least, it's as you can see, universities are offering, especially the University of Reading, of course, we're offering courses support in all aspects from career, well-being. Please engage with those teams because they're there for you, and you need to be able to get in touch and understand how the entire university can support you when you are with us, basically.
Many thanks for such kind words. To all the audience, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact SIUK India offices. We'll be more than happy to help you at any point of time. And in the end, thank you so very much for your valuable time today, Fiona and Ludo, and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our pleasure.
Yeah,
It's been a
bye-bye.
pleasure.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.